glorious flourish to the music once again, which means we back in this bish. Graham Banks.
Steve, how are you?
Yeah, all right.
You good?
It's
All right.
it's the 27th of February, 2020, fucking 3.
Yep.
Yeah, we're almost at the end of February. What the hell?
It's nearly Easter.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Easter just means start of school holidays. Yo. And I've got another public holiday before that. Yo. And I've been off sick for the last 3 days of the work week. Oh. We'll get to that. It's episode 276 of the Should I Play This Game podcast. And yeah, like I said, so didn't have an episode last week because Graham, you had some work stuff to get prepped for.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because you went back into an office.
Well, sort of. I went back to one of my customer sites for the first time in a while. So yeah. First time in. I think
nearly 3 years.
Well, went back one day last year, I think, for a bit. But yeah, ultimately the first time since. I went back one or 2 days last year, but this is the first week-long visit for. Yeah, maybe 3 or 4 years before COVID. So yeah, it was good week.
Oh, that's all right then. I don't know if you know this. The NHL has a YouTube channel. Shock horror. Who would have thought? Major sporting league in America has their own YouTube channel. They do a series called Weird NHL.
Okay.
They named one of their Weird NHL videos Rick Astley Puck Control because the analyst was like, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. And I thought that was fucking hilarious. That probably says more about me than it does about anything else, though. Right?
Yep. As you can probably tell by my reaction to the whole entire anecdote.
I thought it was really clever.
Not saying
he wrote it down for the commentators to say, and I was like, that's pretty good. Since our last podcast, I've also made a couple of purchases before we get into the games. I got a new camera.
Hey, so what brand? What did you buy?
I got the Logitech StreamCam.
Oh, okay.
So I looked up best webcam for streaming / video recording, and it was one that came up fairly frequently. The other good part was it normally retails for about $280. PLE Computers had it for $120.
$280 for a webcam is very expensive, I would have thought.
Yo, they get more expensive than that.
Oh, I'm sure they do, but seriously, it's just a webcam.
Oh, yeah. Like, Razer just put out their, what's it? A Pro Ultra version of their webcam for $500. And that's like 4K 60 and all this sort of shit. And I'm like, yeah, nah. No. So I got that. The mod kit for my A40's rocked up as well. I'm using the microphone from that. And I've got the leatherette headphone cup things. I kept the open back tags on it, though, because I like the sound. But yeah. Anyway. Enough about... What a great way to start. Nice, interesting anecdotes that Steve finds somewhat interesting. Graham's just like, eh. I'm like, okay. Screw it! Let's get to the games. Ooh, a fancy transition. I was like, wait, why am I down in the corner and up in the corner? What the fuck's going on? So, we have a list of games that are new to be played, but that's not all. They're not all the games for us to talk about. But you're first up on the list by the looks. You want to talk?
Well, I thought you were going to add more to that particular introduction, but no, okay.
Nah, not really. No. I just thought it'd be funny to just do that and see if you take
over. Yeah, sure. So I'm still playing Satisfactory. Still playing Age of Empires 2 on the Xbox.
Any new discoveries there?
Not really. No, not really. No. Still think that Xbox release is really, really good. So, yeah. So I played, as you can see by the list up here, I stop at Settlers New Allies, which I'll get to last. But all of my initial games are all demos.
All from the Next Fest, yeah?
All from the Next God, that's really hard for me to say for some reason. It's Next Fest that finished.
All but one.
Yeah, I think the first...
One demo is not part of the Next Fest.
Yeah, one demo is not part of it. But yeah, so we've... So that was finished. I think that was finished about 2 weeks ago now. I think it's the 13th of May, February. I think it finished. I think, if I recall. Anyway,
Yes.
it's been a while. But most of the games I picked as I want to do is around city builder stuff. The first one's obviously not a city builder, but it was one of the demos in it, and that's the Planet of Lana. This game's been
Does
on.
that mean we can call city builders Graham games?
I guess if you want to, yeah, you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, Planet of Lana is really good. It's beautifully animated. It's a little bit what's the word? Yeah, can't quite think of the wording for it, but yeah, it's beautifully animated. Quite cute in this little creature that follows you around and helps you out. It's a puzzle platformer, really neat. Not going to say much more than that until the game's out sometime later this year. I'm hoping. Have they put a date on that? I've not checked. I should actually check that.
I'm just about to look up Steam.
But while we're doing that, yeah, so the other games I've bought.
The demo's still live.
Yeah, most of them still are, which is intriguing because most times.
Q2.
Q2. Okay, so hopefully the next couple of months we shall see that. Plan B, Terraformer, Exogate Initiative, Oxygen, Builders of Greece, Cybertown are all basically city builders. The pick of the crop would be Builders of Greece and Oxygen. They in Cybertown 2 was really, really good. I'll put up a video of both Oxygen and Builders of Greece. So they were the two that sort of stood out to me. Plan B Terraformer I think has the potential to be quite good, and that's actually now out in early access for $14.50 Australian. I spotted this morning, so that was cool. Exegate Initiative is more not so much a production line kind of a thing. It's more just a building management game within a sort of a kind of a spaceship kind of a setup. Could be good, but yeah, I think a lot of things I struggle with most of the demos, or some of the demos, was just their onboarding is basically completely missing at some level. So it's really hard to get a sense of what the game's really trying to do and how to do it. In fact, one of the games I downloaded, I haven't got on the list, but it was just not what I thought it was going to be. Was it's got an odd name. It's like called where is it? Outer Space Shack Demo. And I thought that was going to be like a city builder on the moon. And it might get to that point, but it starts off with you on Earth building rockets to get your stuff to the moon, and then you've got astronauts that if you don't look after them properly literally die within like 10 minutes of being on the moon. It's just really, really not what I thought it was going to be. It's really, really odd.
Sounds like Kerbal.
It is, but you're not building the rockets. You're basically just buying the rocket as it is, kind of thing.
That's disappointing.
Rather than actually building, piecing it together like you do in Kerbal. Yeah, it was kind of odd.
Are you still sticking with Have you gone back to Dyson Sphere Project yet?
Wait until it gets to essentially 1.0.
Yeah.
Because it's still in early access. They've done an awful lot to it, as you would expect. But it's still in early access. I don't know what their plans are at the moment. They're still patching it quite a fair bit and adding to it. I imagine if I went back to it now, I go, what the hell have they done to this? But other than
in that same old man voice.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what the hell?
What the hell is going on here? It's version 0.9.27, so I'd be wagering it's fairly close.
Yeah, based on that, you might think so. Yeah. But yeah, so that's now been 2 years since that came out. Early access. That's
Fuck, it has too.
Yeah, so but the last sort of demo on that list is one that you've also played, which is Humanity. This was basically dropped out of a as a part of the state of play from Sony. It's basically the human version of Lemmings.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is quite unique. Well, not unique, I guess. I really, really enjoyed it. What I played, it's probably like as a 10 I think, 10 missions, 10 levels, 10 whatevers, 10 puzzles. You play the game is not, the demo does not set this up at any way, shape, or form as to kind of what you are or why you are, but you play as a dog, basically.
Shiba Inu.
and you using a couple of commands that are available in each mission, each level, you can basically direct this stream of humans. They're faceless humans. They just walk in a single direction. You've got a turn command, which is the most common one you get, and the beginning one. And you basically press the. I used controller to play this. I tried playing it with mouse and keyboard, and it was fucking just did not work as a control scheme.
Yeah,
it was just really, really tricky to get it to do things accurately, sort of thing. So I used control. It was really, really good. Basically, you sort of you basically bark at the humans, and they turn direction, kind of stuff. Yeah. So basically,
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that when you put down the direction, you bark. So it's like yeah. So you basically got the first probably 3 or 4 levels. All you've got is this turn ability. Then they give you a jump ability to make the humans jump. Then at some point you get a little like a
long jump.
Make them lighter. I think is what it does. So they jump further.
Oh yeah, float.
Like a float thing that makes them jump further. And then later on you get, what's the fourth one you get?
That must be the long jump then.
Yeah, it's a long jump. So you get a long jump, but then you also get a thing that makes them lighter, floater. Might be long jump. Yeah, it might be long jump. That's what I'm thinking of. But you don't get them. It doesn't build up like it's. The first 2 or 3 were just the turn one, then they had a jump, then they had a float, then long jump, then they dropped long jump and float and just had the turn. So they just sort of mix and match it a bit for the first dozen or so episodes or missions. Then at some point you start having these, I think they just called them goldies, and they're basically like golden statues of humans, and if your human rush of people walk through them, the other thing we should say is if you don't direct these humans, they literally just fall off everything. It's really, really.
But there's not a limited number like there is in Lemmings.
They just keep on going, like they just go and go and go.
Pretty great.
It's great.
If you're having a really nihilistic day, you can just watch this whole crowd of humanity just walk off a cliff.
Walk off a cliff. It's great. Yeah. So basically, there's an endpoint, very similar to Lemmings. It's like a lift, kind of a lifting pane of light lift thing, where they just basically walk into it, they get float up into the air. And that's the endpoint.
Glowy beam to heaven.
And that's the endpoint of each one. You get. I'm assuming there's probably going to be. There's no penalty if you lose. Oh, at least in the first couple of times you get it. No penalty for losing Goldie off the side. If he falls off, there's no penalty for it. You can retry at any point and keep them on track. I suspect it's going to be probably linked to an achievement for getting them all in every single mission, kind of a thing. Later on, they introduce, what was the term of them? Others, I think they called them.
Okay, I never got that far.
So I finished it. There's only 10 missions, 10 levels in the.
I think I played 6 of them.
Okay, so I finished all 10. So yeah, and then towards the end you get another type of. They're not humans. I think they're just robots, and you can't control them. They're another obstacle that you need to use to get them out of the way. And then later in one of the other missions, other levels, you've got blocks, and basically the humans just walk up to them and they just start pushing it.
Oh, that's all right.
So there's a one that's really good mission of one of those, which you probably didn't get to if you stopped at 6 or 7. Yeah, so that might have been the one after you.
I think the last one I did was the one with the conveyor belts.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, because that's the one after the big float one where you basically cross.
Yeah, like you got 3 things, like 3 things crossing each other. Yeah, yep.
And then there's the conveyor belts one. That was the last one I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I was really clever and I streamed and recorded a checkout, which we were like, oh wait, you were like, oh I played that, and I'm like, I played that too. Oh, we really should have did a video. Ah, fuck.
So we'll do that
So
next
the
weekend.
stream archives, yeah, the stream archive's still up on my Twitch, but like the actual checkout is now not going to be going up as it was.
Yeah, and
Because I'm a dickhead. We probably should have. Oh.
And we'll do one. We're doing one of those next week. Hopefully, Demo's still
For
around.
as often as we've done, like record, like both tag team recording and individual solo recordings, this to be the first time it's happened. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah, exactly. Considering how many we both sort of have done.
Yeah.
The first time we've actually.
Because I would imagine you probably would have looked at that and gone, "He's too stupid for that."
No.
You don't need to lie. It's okay, because I looked at when I saw it in the state of play. I'm like, "Ooh, I don't know about this."
There was a couple towards the end where you got to. There's actually one where you actually what the good thing about it is you control this dog who's got a pretty good jump on him, and he can run ahead of the humans. So if you know what they need to do, you can basically start laying down.
I wish there was a pause, because sometimes they come out a little quick.
You can pause it.
You can?
Yeah. You don't. It's
like
sort of
pause the human stream.
Yep. Yeah, you can definitely pause it. I did it multiple. Did it multiple
Maybe
times.
I didn't look at that properly.
So you just press pause like you pressed pause. It doesn't actually. It doesn't completely like it does a bit of a what's the term, vignette kind of a view to it. So. So you can't pause it and still move the camera. It basically goes back to a menu, but you can technically pause it. But there's no sort of
there's no consequence for losing dudes unless you like set it up and they picked up a Goldie and like, oh no, wait, oh no.
Later on though there is. So later on you do need to keep them. So that's interesting.
Man.
Yeah. So
maybe I am going to be too stupid for this after all.
I think it's really, really cool. I mean,
it's super clever.
It's super clever. The way in which each sort of level sort of comes into its existence is kind of clever too. How it sort of builds the thing up together.
It actually maintains the frame rate really well, no matter how many people you've got on the screen. That's what I thought was going to be super challenging.
Yeah, there's one level you would have done it. Pretty sure. I think it might be the fourth or fifth one from memory. Where you've got to start.
3 exits, right?
No, there's another one. I think it's before that one. There's one where you basically have.
Oh, run a loop.
Yeah, they're in a bloody loop. So you start the.
Oh, that fucked me up, that one.
You start the humans jumping around in this loop thing, and they just keep going because you can actually sort of. You can end up having those things just doing their thing, and once you sort of stop the humans from jumping into that same loop, they can still sort of maintain what the path they originally have. So basically, each level starts with a door, and that's where they come in, and that door will be facing a certain direction. And with this particular level, you have to set the humans in a sort of a four-way square jumping pattern thing, and as they were doing that, they were keeping these pressure pads active that basically made these blocks that
the climbable sort of blocks.
Climbable sort of blocks sort of come into physical being, and they could actually interact with. Otherwise, they were just they weren't there, sort of thing. So yeah, once you got that going, and you could have probably like to come with a couple hundred humans in that sort of loop, and as you said, that frame rate didn't really drop at all. So it's but there's no real animation with them. They're not really. They're sort of
There's not, but with as many the thing I thought about when I saw the actual.
The number of animations on screen is impressive with it.
That's what I was thinking. It was just going to chug.
Yeah,
once it got to a certain point.
Yeah, and maybe it does later on when they're later on in the game.
Maybe it does on the PlayStation. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Because I played it on PC.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
we've both got like really good graphics cards that should be able to hold up.
Should be able to hold up to that. Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to that game a lot now. I don't believe.
Hearing what you said about the later parts of the demo, I'm kind of like, oh man, I'm going to be too stupid for this. Now that I just assume you played it when you said you played it to completion when you said you played it. So. No, I got to a point where I'm like, this is a pretty good place to stop the video. All right, thanks for checking out. Peace out. And then I just closed it and uninstalled it.
Um, yeah, so they're saying a May release. At this point, it's on Steam. It's on the PlayStation.
It's got VR.
It's got VR, which that might be alright, but not the way I would want to play it. And there is some sort of story to it because when it opens up, this dog character you play as is sort of spoken to by something or somebody.
Yeah, that'd be the interesting point. Like, how does a dog get to that state?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I think the game might actually be about ultimately.
Or maybe it just is.
Not based on what the end of it is. The end of the demo is not. No, there's a little bit more to it.
Fuck.
So, but yeah, and they're saying there's going to be 90 story mode stages, which
Jesus
sounds a lot, but we'll see if they can.
That's probably a good 4 or 5 hours. That's pretty like
most levels are going to take you maybe 5 minutes, especially early on, to sort of nut out. I mean, I think the 10 minutes. Let's see how long I played for.
The loop took me a good 10, 15, I think, to figure out, because I just could not figure out, like, with the long jump. I'm like, how the fucking hell do I get this dude over here? What the fuck? And then I had to switch up my thinking.
I'm not too sure it's actually telling me how long I played the demo for, which is a bit of a... Oh, no, it's not.
I was less than an hour.
I think I was probably an hour for the whole lot, I think.
Mm.
So, yeah, I mean, it's really impressive. I think it's really cool. I sort of got some... Even though it was not made by the same people, I got some Talos Principles kind of vibes from it in a way. Not so much from the visuals of it, but just I think this back end story that's going to be in the back end of it. I think.
Oh, okay. You think it's going to get does it get sort of philosophical?
I think it's going to. That's my impression.
Ooh.
When you see the end of the demo, which we'll get to in the video, I think you'll probably understand why I'm saying that.
You can drive that one then, because I don't think you want to sit there watching me bash my head against this fucking thing, going, duh, how do I figure this out?
They're also advertising there's going to be like a level editor, so there'll be human generated content to be able to make levels and stuff, which would be interesting. So see how that goes. But
I can't imagine what sort of fucked up shit people are going to build in that.
Yeah, I didn't jump into that thing. It was apparently in the demo, but I didn't jump into it to see. What sort of tools they give you.
I mean, it'd be block-based, just like Trackmania or something like that. So or even Mario Maker. It's just in a 3D space rather than obviously on a 2D plane like Mario Maker is. So like, you can have someone get in there, build something super intricate that just makes no logical sense to someone like me.
Yeah. Or anyone other than the person who makes it, and then everyone else has to try and...
Well, even that.
Yeah, and then have to try and figure it out somehow. Yeah. But no, that's really cool. Looking forward to that one. Yeah, as I said, May 2023 release, hopefully. So, and that's the kind of game that I can't imagine is going to get delayed because of the nature of it. But it'll be.
It looks fair. It looks fairly on. Looks like it should be pretty much on
track. The graphics of it are very straightforward. There's no the blocks are pretty they're all.
I think it looks nice.
Oh, it looks really good. I mean, the suits what they're trying to do, but it's not.
The goldies have a nice reflection off them, and they have sort of nice flat shaded, sort of very literally flat.
Yeah.
Not sort of sphere.
Yeah, they're very angular with their sort of.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Angular. And the effect on when you hit the switches and it removes or places in certain elements off the pressure plates. That part looks really cool as well.
Yeah, it does look really visually pretty cool.
Alright, Settlers.
So this game came out literally a week ago, maybe less than. Maybe midweek, I believe. And I have played through the tutorial, which has 8 or 9 components to it, from memory. So you're going through your normal, movement, that kind of stuff. The building types of buildings there are, that sort of thing. And I'm now, just before we started recording, I started playing through a practice. Not even a mission. It's just practice. You can put all the things to the demo together without any sort of no one's going to attack you. Nothing sort of no pressure sort of thing. You just get to play the game like sort of a bit of a sandbox. I think everything seems to be unlocked in terms of being able to build them, stuff like that. I really like what I played of it so far. I said I probably literally played it for maybe an hour tops with all the tutorial stuff. It's using, I'm not really sure how it's using it per se, if that makes sense. It's using the Snowdrop engine, which is actually the thing they did the Division in.
Yeah,
So
and Assassin's Creed.
the later ones, I think, yes, I believe, but not.
Yeah.
So the fact that this has been made in that engine is pretty impressive. That engine can do that kind of, because I thought that engine was based purely around doing that third person perspective stuff. But this game looks really good. I thought Anno 1800 looked good. I think this is a level above that. The little animations are great when like you have this it's a I didn't know this when I started playing. It's a hex based placement game, if that makes sense. It's not grid based.
Oh God.
So you can place things, like you start with a warehouse in the very first. So far, every mission has started with a warehouse already placed. And you've got things like farms and mining things, woodcutters, lumber, the usual stuff you find in city builders. The thing that's different in this game is that not different. One aspect of this game is you need to join. All of the buildable things have an entrance essentially. You've got to join that to the warehouse in some way. Whether you draw a road directly to it, or whether you go via another path, either way you've got to join it. There does not appear to be the same sort of logic or same sort of thing that was in Anno, which has had all of, if you build a warehouse anywhere, you've got sort of combined resources. Doesn't appear to be that way. You've got one central warehouse. It's got very similar looking UI though when you go into that warehouse and look at the items in your inventory. Same up and arrows to indicate, what's I'm looking for? The direction of which that particular material is going in terms of usage, up increasing or decreasing. A lot of we'll do a video probably next week for this as well. And then you start building out. You're building out, but yeah, so you've got to join everything by the road, and it kind of makes the world look really organic because of the way it's not just a straight line with perfect sort of 90-degree angles and sort of stuff. So it looks kind of more organic and more sort of real, if that makes sense. But for example, one of the buildings you get, sort of going back to the animation stuff I was talking about, is you can train donkeys. So as we saw with in SteamWorld Build as well, you had your guys carrying materials around from the producing building to the storage building and that kind of stuff. Same thing happens in this. But initially they start just carrying them around, and then they get donkeys, and they run alongside donkeys and stuff. So you've got to train donkeys. Now, for some reason, you can make donkeys by just using wheat. Don't really get that, but put that aside. They grow donkeys from wheat. Don't know how that works, but that's the one thing they've got. You basically build donkeys from.
What?
I don't know exactly. As I said, I don't understand. They're a bit moving along. So.
My brain is fucking broken right now.
So one of the things you can do though is you can train the donkeys to be the carrier donkey essentially. So the donkey will get taken into this building that does the training. The little guy that goes in with him will close a door, and then the little donkey will stick his head out a little hole in the door, and you'll just hear this animation of the building sort of getting kicked and beaten inside, and then the donkey just comes, oh, I'm now a donkey to carry stuff. It's just got really neat. It's just got some really neat animation to it. That's really, I'm really badly explaining because it's just a bit.
This donkey's just sitting there kicking the shit out of this door, and then all of a sudden it's just.
Yeah, basically, that's what it is. So yeah. So
what the fuck?
Yeah, it's
I want to try doing this. Put some weight in the shed.
Yeah, just see the donkey turn into a donkey. Yeah, so I think this game is really, really good. I'm liking it a lot so far. It's on. I haven't bought it. I've got it through the Ubisoft Plus. So the barrier to entry from that perspective was really low. I don't know what the story is going to be. I haven't done the campaign. There is apparently one in it. So I'm not too sure what that'll be. But there is military parts of it. Like there are battles and stuff in it. So I'm not too sure how that will sort of go. So it's not just a true build up your base and get really big and then have everything survive. It's actually got some sort of military component to it. But outside of that, yeah, I'm not too sure where that'll go ultimately. But yeah, a lot of it ticks a lot of boxes for me so far. So yeah, I'm really digging it. So,
Oh,
and that's it for my list.
I'll be honest. I'm curious to see how you find it the more you play it. Purely because, like, I've seen reviews coming out for it, and they haven't been the most positive.
Yeah, I haven't looked at any reviews yet myself. So has it crashed once on me? I was just finished one of the tutorial missions and it just crashed.
Sweet.
So that's so yeah, it's not. But unlike Anno, having
Jeez, that was
having OBS running doesn't cause this thing any problems at all. So that's really good. But yeah, getting Anno to work with the bloody OBS when we tried to do a recording a couple of weeks back was a bloody nightmare for some reason. So.
That's like trying to build a fucking house on an Native American burial ground.
Yeah, it seemed to be very cursed for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably because that game is now 4 years old. So yeah, that's on my list.
Word.
A lot of demos.
Lot of demos. So just a couple things on what I've been playing. Still working on Elden Ring. Like 130 hours deep now. I'm basically very close to the end. I've got two areas. One goes to apparently the hardest boss in the game, and then the other area I'm assuming goes to the actual end boss, who is at least the second hardest boss, sort of like up there for hardest boss in the game as well. Yep. So I'm just like, fuck. But I think it's either going to be a chip away, or even if I sort of drift off, I'm still happy with the 130 plus hours I've spent in that thing, because it is just so gargantuan in its size and its scope that it has still been enjoyable. There's bosses that fuck me off, but welcome to Souls games.
Yeah.
Marvel Snap is still Marvel Snap. That's pretty great. Moving on. I have continued streaming A Plague Tale Innocence on Sunday evenings / late afternoons. I've just set foot in the university. If you remember that.
I vaguely remember that. Yep.
Yeah, it's like the first time that what's her face? Shit, what's her name?
The main daughter.
Girl.
Amisha.
Yeah, Amicia. That's right.
Amicia.
Basically the first time she's on her own.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice. There's that. There was some new content released for Justice Sucks, as a patch.
Okay, fair enough.
That it put about 4 new missions in this weird spaceship, like space station.
Okay.
So you end up like the space station. The dude who runs the space station is the evil asshole from the end of the game. He vaporizes one of your owner's teddies, and you have to go up and fuck him up for it. And he builds himself up like, rah, I'm rah, 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 I'm going to beat your ass. And then you hit him once and it's done. So it does that. It was pretty funny. So I did a checkout for that. That's live. So yeah, check that out. Forza Horizon 5 I reinstalled because of the DLC announcement. Or the announcement of the DLC announcement. Yes. So I went back into that. I played through the content I hadn't seen yet, which was 2 new stories, and the midnight street races. That was a pain in the ass because you had to play 16 street races for those 4 to unlock. It didn't count any street races you'd already played and finished.
Okay.
So I had to redo 16 street races, which it was fine. I just had a video on the other screen, or like I was playing it before we recorded and was listening to his album on Spotify. So that's fine. And MK11. I'd done a couple of weeks of Friday Night Fight Night and with MK11. Didn't do that on Friday because, like I said, I've been off work sick Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of last week. So, yeah, and that sort of illustrated in the games list as well, I think, because it was just sort of, what am I going to play? I'm not really feeling like doing anything too intense. And most of the time when I say that, I go to Elden Ring, which is fucking stupid, but I don't know. The difficulty of that is somewhat meditative in some ways. I've said that a bunch of times.
I can see that.
For the new stuff, Pinball Effects is a redoing of the Pinball Effects series. It's exclusive to Epic at this point, and it's free to play, much like the last 3 Pinball Effects games are. Works something on a subscription model. But if you don't, it's not even a subscription model. You just buy a bunch of tickets to buy the sort of tables that you want. But if you choose not to, there are 2 tables free every day, and they rotate those tables.
Okay.
It's okay. It's fine. I missed the day. I never got into the pinball arcade and all the Williams tables and stuff they did for that. Which in order to keep up on that shit, it was like $200. Which whatever. I've spent way more than that on Apex. But yeah, it's just a shame because the pinball arcades model and physics model and all that sort of stuff was awesome. This Pinball Effects, this version is fine. But there's tables I would like to play that aren't in there yet. But it is what it is. Hi-Fi Rush, I finally started. Man, that thing looks fucking incredible.
Oh, yeah, it's great. I haven't gone back to it yet, but I plan to. Yeah.
I find the playing of it, it's not that it's bad. I do enjoy it. But I enjoy looking at it way more.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I can see that, yeah.
I'm trying to get the timed stuff out, the timed combos. I think the lowest rank I've got so far is a B. I'm hitting a lot more Bs now that I'm dying a bit more often because I've got it on hard because I'm an idiot. Or I don't know, it hasn't been too bad. I think the most I've died in a single level has been 4. And that I'll go base, like basically start in the base, and then the next time I get to the base, that's where I leave it.
Yeah, just do one.
And come back to it another time.
Just
so I'm not burning myself out on it.
Because that kind of loop would take probably an hour-ish, I'd say. 45 minutes to an hour.
Between an hour, 1 or 2 have taken about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
As it gets deeper in the game. I'm thinking I've got 2 of those levels left, and then whatever unlocks in the end game after that. Because I understand there's some side stuff and a bunch of end game stuff that unlocks.
Okay.
So I'm making my way towards that. Pizza Tower is a game I have now finished. Apparently, it has its roots in Wario Land.
Okay, so
to an extent, old school. I'm not going to say it's old school Sonic. There is an absolute pace part to it, the speed part, but the nature of the platforming and what you're asked to do, from the rough, very small amount I played of Wario Land games in the past, I can see the Wario Land comparison. I just haven't played enough of it to really solidify it. I didn't enjoy it as much as some reviewers did. Like PC Gamer gave it a 90. I wouldn't go that high.
I thought WarioWare was like a mini game collection kind of thing.
No, that's WarioWare. Wario Land is literally 2D platformers on the Game Boy and GBA.
Gotcha. Right. Game one. Yep.
I should have. Speaking of fucked up videos that I tried, I've streamed twice now. I've done this. And I went to do a checkout of the GBA games that were done for Switch Online.
Oh, yeah,
Yep. But the way we've got audio recording set in OBS, I forgot to change it both times to just normal desktop audio. So I accidentally captured and recorded me playing a whole bunch of emulated games without any audio.
Aha, excellent.
Because I'm really clever.
Well, I think I recorded one of the demos, I think it was Oxygen. No, Cybertown I recorded. I was the opposite. I had audio, no video.
Oh, nice!
Because I forgot to change the video, OBS
change the
input to choose the right application and whatever. So anyway.
Forward, like with because I'm running it through RetroArch. Fortunately, just doing window capture with RetroArch makes that fairly easy. I don't need to worry about the input source, and if I'm capturing a full screen game on OBS, I'm just able to leave it as capture any full screen app, so that's fine. But that beta where it splits the audio to different channels, if you don't set with something where you're going into many different things, if you forget to change that, it just silence.
That's what I did. I forgot to change one but not the other.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there talking about how good the music is in something or something along those lines. And then I go back and quickly check the video before I upload it. I'm like, oh, fuck, I did it again. Actually, no, I realized that before I finished the demo. I got to the end of I was starting to wrap up, and I'm like, I haven't set the audio. Shit. So there's an archive again on my Twitch, but that's it. It just makes me look like a dumbass. But anyway, you can with Pizza Tower, you get ranked at the end of every level for the number of points, how high a score you get. There's I got A ranks on almost everything except for one or two boss fights, but like most of the achievements are tied to at least S rank.
Okay.
I never even sniffed S rank on most of the playthroughs I did. I think there's a bit of encouragement to go back in and play through the levels again.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it enough playing through it the first time, but not enough to go back into it to get those S ranks. So that's not happening.
So what's its what's I'm looking for? What's its hook? Is it like visually?
Visually, it looks like someone made it in Microsoft Paint. It's hilarious.
Oh, okay.
But it actually looks alright too. And like it's just this cool thing where it's just like I think it's an if you know situation where if you played those WarioWare games and stuff like that, not that you have to enjoy this, but if you understand and know what those games are, you're probably going to find this a hell of a lot better.
Okay.
I went to the Steam discussion boards and was like, people gave this a bunch of positive reviews, but I'm not getting it. Is my brain broken? So yeah, I always get weirded out when people are overly effusive to something. I sit back and go, I'm not getting it. But anyway.
Yeah, okay. I don't.
It is what it is. It's a weird me thing.
I like the developer's name, Tour de Pizza.
It is pretty good. Peppino the Pizza Man is the dude's name, or I think it's Peppino Pepperoni or something like that. But yeah, it can get really, really quick, and that when you're going full speed, it is really quite interesting and quite entertaining. But going back in to do those S ranks, and there's a P rank where you have to do everything possible in a level and maintain a damage combo the entire time and not get hit.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah, fuck that.
Just looking at this game in motion, it does look pretty good in motion.
Yeah. When it's moving and it's moving quick, it is really quite entertaining. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it well enough. As I was looking for something somewhat, I guess, chill for one of my sick days, I thought, I've got Old World sitting here. I'm going to give that a crack. So, for those who don't know, Old World is a 4X game in the Civilization mold. I got through the first 3 tutorials, pretty fine. But by the end of the 3rd tutorial, it was just, there's a lot of different things you're doing, and the level of what I wanted, or what I needed at that point, that sort of level of chill, I was just like, oh, this is getting over top of me a little bit. Yeah. I'm out. It wasn't to the point of being unmanageable. It was absolutely manageable, but like to continue managing it, I would need to be playing that way more often.
Yeah.
So I was like, yep, nope, I'm out. Angel Gear is a small team Metroidvania. I think the small team might be 1 or 2 people. But it's got a super ineffective map to the point where it doesn't even tell you what rooms you've been in have exits you can't use or nothing yet.
Okay.
So it's like that in a Metroidvania, that sort of map is not particularly useful. It's got a really drab color palette in its look. It is fairly nice pixel art, but the drab color palette is sort of just and it doesn't really tell you about the dodge. So when I got to a boss, I kept getting hit and couldn't figure out how to get out of its way. And I'm like, I could keep playing this, but nah. So I just uninstalled it. Eldorand is another Metroidvania with some Souls elements. It tries going really old school by not only making attacks really damaging and really sort of animation priority heavy and things like that, you also get a bunch of enemy contact damage too. So even if you walk into an enemy, you get hit. So it's like, yep, nah. That sort of bothered me, because if you're going to try and go the Souls route and then have that element on top of it, that's not what a Souls game is. So it just ended up putting in an additional little, like, not necessarily a wall. I could have got through it, but it was just annoying the crap out of me. So I'm just like, nah. It has some really good tight controls. It does control really well. I love the art style. It looks really nice. The music's pretty dope, but just the contact damage just gets in the way, because if you're going to have enemies do a bunch of damage off attacks and also have them damage you through just contact, then that's just a bridge too far. Well, not a bridge too far. It's just a level of annoyance you don't need in those sorts of games.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to get patterns down and they just bump into you and you still take damage, that's just fucked. And lastly, hey, if I didn't fully get Old World, which I mostly got Old World, but if I didn't fully want to stick with it because I thought, a bit too heavy, that's a bit too systems heavy, I thought, why not try a grand strategy game like it's Crusader Kings 3? I should make way more sense of that, right? Nope. But there was a point where I was just sitting there waiting for different events, like sort of narrative events to pop up and make decisions, and I had no idea what to do in between. So I was like, what do I do in between these? And this was in the tutorial, mind you. So I'm like, I could declare war on all these people and stuff like that, but I'm like, why? What do I do outside of just waiting for these different events to pop up? So I'm just like, yeah, nah. But at least now I know. I've been really curious if Crusader Kings 3 fit since it came out because of how positive people were on it. But it should have given it away when I saw the time to complete being completionist 800 hours. I should have known. I really should have known.
It's a bit of a hint, I think, that one.
Bit of a hint. There was a bit of a hint there. One could argue that maybe, just maybe, based on my habits of games I play, maybe not the thing for me. But I was really curious and really wanted to try it, so I did. Now I know. Yep. Have you watched anything recently?
No.
All right. So really quickly, I watched Knives Out, both Knives Out and Glass Onion. Mainly because everyone was so like, oh my god, Glass Onion is amazing. So I'm like, all right, I'll watch them both. Knives Out's better. Knives Out's great.
Isn't that the one that's got
I went and saw James Bond.
Daniel Craig?
Daniel Craig.
Okay. Yeah, he's like a...
Daniel Craig can do a really good southern drawl.
He's like a detective or something, isn't he? Or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen it on Netflix. I've seen the ads for it on Netflix, so...
Yeah.
I think it's on Netflix, yeah.
And Batista's in Glass Onion as this sort of influencer type who's like playing into the Alex Jones sort of ultra right-wing busting guns off in the air sort of vibe.
Yeah.
And he's so good at it. No, I don't think because Batista is that way. I think Batista has actually come into his own as like a really good actor.
Oh, I think he is too, for sure. Yeah.
I think Batista's the best wrestler who's turned an actor.
Yeah, I can not. Yeah, yes, for sure. I would agree with that.
Because fuck The Rock.
Yeah, exactly. No.
There's your episode title. Fuck The Rock. I went and saw Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania with a mate of mine. It was entertaining. There weren't as many hooks, or at least not as many immediately obvious hooks to the MCU as there has been in past Marvel movies. Like, apparently Kang is going to be in the new Avengers movie. And there was a link to, I think, season 2 of Loki. That's all I got.
Okay.
And also I've watched the first 3 or 4 episodes of that 90s show. I will just say, if you've never seen that 70s show, don't bother watching that 90s show. Because it's so reliant on that crisscross, that contextualization of knowing that. One of the kids at work was like, I started watching that and I never watched that 70s show before. I'm like, yep. That was a bad idea. He's like, yep, sure was. Yeah, that's about it.
All right.
So there are a couple of news stories, news being sort of not the right term, but whatever. So let's go to the beginning of the end where we can talk about that and some other stuff.
Alrighty.
Okay, beginning of the end. There was, as you mentioned, Graham, there was a state of play that happened over the course of the last week. There was also a Nintendo Direct, but we don't need to talk about that because I can barely remember what was in it. We talked before recording about what was interesting, and it was literally 3 things. One we've already talked about, which was humanity. And you mentioned one other game that you were interested in.
Yeah, I didn't watch the state of play. I just read the article that you posted from Eurogamer about what was announced, and the only one that stood out to me
I watched it.
was Chi. I think I don't know how it's spelled
Chia.
TCHIA. It's
Mm.
like a little open world sandboxy kind of a puzzle. Yeah, not really action adventure. Not really sure what it is per se, but yeah, looks very neat. It's based on it's inspired by New Caledonia, the country. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, that looks like Hawaii. But yeah, New Caledonia.
New Caledonia, about the same.
Sort of a same Polynesian sort of thing. And there's the symbol of the developer is that basically.
Shaka, brah.
So yeah, that's what I thought when I saw it. I thought, yeah, that's Hawaii, but no, it's New Caledonia. So yeah, just looked really neat from a visual perspective, and yeah, look, that might be an interesting story-based game to play. So yeah.
That's been on my radar for a bit. It's available for pre-order on Epic and I believe PlayStation for like $40. It does have a Steam page. I don't know if the Steam release is going to be this on day and date with Epic. I don't know if it's going to be Epic first, then delay, then Steam, or what the go's going to be there. But these things will work themselves out as they tend to. The other really interesting thing for me was the deeper look they provided. Street Fighter 6. The showing off the 2 returning characters and the new character Lily. Geef, man. Geef's a wrestling ass wrestler now. He does like full blown suplexes and shit. Which, not that he didn't before, but still. But yeah, that game continues to look good, as does Resident Evil 4. But Suicide killed the Justice League. They did a bit deeper look at it, and it's basically a looter shooter, a schluter.
It's with
a cosmetic-only battle pass.
Which I kind of thought was already known, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe I just assumed it was going to be that thing. I don't know. Anyway.
I don't think it was fully known that it was 100% schluter. But there's I'm I'm somewhat excited and hopeful that this turns out well and doesn't become Gotham Knights. Because there's a real potential for this to just be Gotham Knights as well.
I think the thing I've read about it too is that it's a live service game, so it's got this online stuff. You've got to, even for single player stuff. So I think it's turned off an awful lot of people when I started reading about it. I did watch the 3 or 4 minute trailer that was in that release, in that state of play, and I think it looks pretty damn good.
It looks like it should and could be really, really fun.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also got the potential to go, fucking boom, just fall off a fucking cliff with whatever they want shit they want to put in, microtransactions, live service stuff, whatever they want to do, has the potential to be.
That was part of the problem with Gotham Knights.
Yeah, and it's the same thing that made Marvel's Avengers completely shit the bed. So if it's going down that path, then it's got its reputation is going to, well, not its own reputation, but that style of game, whatever you want to call it, that reputation now precedes everything that tries to do it. So you've got to really.
Yep. They tried really hard not to mention live service game.
Yeah, and they're going to struggle. They
called it everything but a live service game.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it looked really fun. I was thinking that only Deadshot and King Shark were going to be fun. King Shark, voiced by the current reigning defending TNT champion Samoa Joe. But even Captain Boomerang looked really interesting and fun to play. And Harley wasn't over the top Harley.
Yeah, well, I know they did I know they did a deeper dive. I just played the sort of look through the
just the base
for 3 minutes sort of trailer thing they did. And yeah, the characters, like, as you say, in most of the Batman games, Harley is just a really over the top character, which to a degree she actually makes sense to be that. But
part of that is her appeal.
Oh yeah, that is her appeal for sure. But with this game's got 3 or 4 other characters that are going to probably play just an equal part in the game's narrative that you want to sort of mellow her a little bit to sort of bring the others up, kind of thing. But yeah, it's definitely going to be one to watch. But as I said, it can either go really well or just completely fall on its ass.
Yeah, it can go one of 2 ways, and you really don't want to Avengers this bitch.
Yeah, and it's at this stage is not known which way it's going to go. So definitely wait and see. But yeah, it could be okay, but also, as I said, it could be complete garbage fire. But who knows? But yeah.
But I think that's got a tentative date of May off the top of my head. I really should have checked. Here we go. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Oh, it just says 2023. It doesn't have an actual 26th of May 2023. There you go.
Mm.
So it does have an actual release date. All right, cool. Couple of real quick news items. I mentioned the second DLC announcement for Forza Horizon 5 being the catalyst for my reinstalling that.
Mm-hmm.
They've since announced it. It's going to be rally themed. And the last couple of rally themed DLC stuff they've done hasn't been as well received as other forms of DLC they've done. There was the initial rally DLC for the first Horizon way back on the 360. And even Fortune Island, to a point, some people weren't particularly happy with either. But I don't know. It could be really, really fun, and it's more Horizon. More Horizon is always good Horizon, right? I think so. One that wasn't known about before this week, one that hadn't been announced properly, but an investor call ruined it. MK12 is coming this year, apparently. So it should be an Injustice year because the way they've split them the last few,
they alternate, yeah.
Yeah. It should be Injustice 3, but we're getting MK12, which hey, MK11's still been pretty good, so hopefully MK12 comes out good too. But you're going up against the rather large juggernaut that's got something to prove in Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen there. Last thing. Steam came out during the week and just said, hey, guess what? You want to know when all our sales and all the fests are going to happen? Blah. And I just did an info dump of, here's when all the sales are happening. Here's where all of our sort of demo fests and all this other event type stuff are happening. Go for it. Which is super weird because they've never done that before.
Yeah, they've never... we know they've got the big summer sale / winter sale. All those they have those big ones. They do little ones throughout the year as well, but they never really advertise them until they're about to happen, kind of thing. And they say, next week it starts on whatever day and goes for a week or whatever. They've generally also got leaked as well. For the most part, they get leaked, which is always funny to me because it's just a fucking sale. It doesn't need to be leaked, but anyway, it is what it is. But yeah,
means you don't buy anything till the sale, Graham.
But then a couple of days ago, they put out that they've now put out the full list. So they've got a list of about 2, 6, 8, 10, it's probably 14 sales for the rest of the year at this stage. I've already had one already. They had a Next Fest, I think, a while ago, if I recall.
They had a Next Fest a while ago, but they've just, over the last week, they've had a Mystery Fest as well. They either have two names for their events on Steam: sales or fests.
Something fest or something sale. So they've got your spring sale in March. Obviously, these dates are based on American winter seasons. Summer sale / winter sale would be in sort of late, essentially first couple of weeks of July. You then got your autumn and winter sales late in the year and into the new year. Then you've got a bunch of genre-specific sales fests scattered between them. You've got Mystery Fest going on right now, almost finishing in a couple of days' time. Puzzle Fest in April, Sports one in May, and Next Fest in June. Stealth Fest in July, a Visual Novel Fest in August, Strategy Fest in late August, a Shmup Fest in September, October, another Next Fest in late October. So even a couple of months are getting a couple of sales. Then they're into sort of a Halloween, horror-themed sale in October. So
I thought there might be something between the autumn and the winter sale, but that's about it.
They're a month apart anyway.
Being so close together, you can understand why.
I understand why.
But I'm really, I want to see a bunch of cool new demos for the next fests.
Yeah,
buy a bunch of shit on the cheap during those other fests.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, exactly. And that's what's really like the Next Fest they've had for the couple of Next Fest they've had, and the various base builder thing they did a month or so ago was really good as well. It's really It's good that they're doing it.
I like that they're going broad on, like, they're going to a bunch of different like, who would have thought that Steam would do a mystery fest?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, they're doing a bunch, like Puzzle Fest, Sports Fest. They're doing a bunch of different stuff that targets a bunch of different people. So that part's really, really cool. So
yeah, it's really,
I'm just curious to see what games they put on sale during those fests and what I can pick up on the cheap.
yeah, exactly. But no,
hopefully tape the tapes out by the time that Sports Fest happens.
But it's odd that, as I said, this is the news part of this is not the fact that they've got these fests or these sales. They've always had
the fact that they just announced
the fact that they've announced the entire schedule for the year is just really nothing they've ever done before. So it's just really odd.
I managed to do so before anyone could leak it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah.
Good for them.
I'm curious. Yeah, I'd be curious to know what the developers / publishers are thinking about something like this, because as you said earlier, the sales are what people generally don't buy any games till the sales come along. Is that gonna affect people's sales? Or don't know. Curious what
I mean, most people know when the 4 major sales are on Steam anyway. So it's like, you either buy something on launch because you want to play it on launch or close enough to it, or to register a sale to have your voice heard.
Yeah. Or you wait until the sale.
Or you wait for those sales because they happen so often.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting nonetheless.
Yes.
The only other thing outside of a couple of must listens, and I don't know, have you had some time to think about your most anticipated games for this year yet?
I mean, the main one, I think we've sort of covered a lot of them during the couple of videos we've done. Obviously, Steam World Build coming out is obviously up there. Affect Humanity's just gone to that list. Outside of that, there's nothing really that's at the moment on my big radar. But
what about Diablo 4?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, other than what we talked about in there already, there's nothing. Yeah. Nothing else has really come onto the list for me at the moment. But yeah, Diablo 4. Assuming there's an Assassin's Creed game this year, that'll probably would be on my list.
There's Mirage, remember?
Mirage, yeah, I think that's out, but we're going to come out this.
Which is it's gone back to the sort of more traditional
style of those games. But yeah, in terms of outside of that, not really anything that really comes to mind. What about yourself?
Street Fighter 6 is my big one.
I can imagine.
That's the biggest one for me this year. That's been the whole catalyst for me doing Friday Night Fight Night, and so if that wasn't my number one, that would be weird. RE4 I'm really looking forward to, because that Resident Evil 2 remake was done so well. So I'm really hoping that RE4 comes out well. Diablo 4, I've got pre-ordered. Remnant 2, I loved Remnant, and I'm hoping Remnant 2 sticks by it. I was going to say Wo Long, but I actually we didn't talk about it during the played part, because I've got a video going up on for it on Tuesday. I played the Wo Long demo. I'm a little less excited by it now, because the first boss on that thing is a motherfucker.
Okay, yep.
And sort of kicked my head in a bit. So if I had to switch Wo Long out, I would probably say maybe something like Redfall, because that could be super interesting.
Yeah, it could be. Yep.
I've got really quickly, I've got 5 indie games. The Plucky Squire was the game. Remember when I talked about that RPG time?
Yeah, yep.
Plucky Squire is the Devolver Digital game that's basically like that, but seems like way tidier. Angerfoot, which is that first-person Hotline Miami.
Yep.
Cheer, like I said, I'd already been known about Cheer for a bit. Replaced, which is a really dope cyberpunk sort of third-person shooter. And WrestleQuest, which is an RPG based with some wrestling in it. Professional wrestling. Like, you get Macho Man Randy Savage going, "Ooh, yeah!" and stuff like that. So that's pretty good. They're mine for now.
Yeah, but probably. I mean, I'll just probably add from my perspective. EA Sports PJ Tour might be. I've seen some trailer stuff put out for that looks like they've really done a lot of work on that perspective. That looks like it might be pretty decent. Just looking through a list of games because I don't really know the list of games that much at the moment. What was the one I just saw a second ago? What about you in Dead Island 2? Just seeing that game.
Dead Island 2 is one I'm really looking forward to.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor is another big one.
Jedi Survivor, yep. Oh crap! I forgot to even mention that. I'm still playing that for Kicking It Old School.
Yep.
Need
Legend
to
of
record
Zelda.
one or two of them to get it back up.
Legend of Zelda, maybe for me.
Yeah.
I didn't play the other one on Switch, so yeah. Not too sure. What
That's
else?
certainly a very big game.
Oh, it's a very big game. What do we
Both
got?
reputation-wise and scope-wise.
And yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know how the Switch is going to handle that fucking thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the.
It surely can't.
That's sort of the thing, isn't it? Really. So.
Like, goddamn.
Yeah, there's probably a couple of biggish ones, but I suspect that most things are going to be like we've talked about. The demos I've just talked about. Some of those games may eventually come out this year. I would like to. I would think. Not that it really matters to me per se. Ultimately, that Satisfactory will probably get 1.0 this year. I suspect. I suspect also that My Time in Sandrock will get 1.0, which I'll then jump back into that.
Closer to the end of the year, possibly.
Possibly, yeah. I think there'll be a latter half, like a second half rather than a. Yeah, there's a couple of games like that that are sort of already dived into bit on the early access that hopefully will come out, full 1.0. But
we'll no doubt talk about some of these big games as they're coming out.
Yeah, for sure.
Woilong's out this coming week.
I'm
curious to see what the reviews say because I really enjoyed the combat right up until the boss. And it was just I just wasn't wrapping my head around what I needed to do for the boss. Really divisive demo on the Steam discussion boards, I will say. It's sort of split 50-50 split between fuck this game, it's shit, and about 30% of nah, get good, you dipshit, and like 20% trying to actually have a constructive conversation about what they actually have a problem with and stuff like that. But hey, the internet, who would have thought?
Yeah, there's some other games there's other games that we've seen in various showcases that there's one I can't think of the name. I can sort of picture the trailer, but I can't name the game of it. That we haven't got dates for, so they may get announced in sort of around the June period, E3 period. Not that there's going to be one. That'll then probably come on once a game's got a vague date. Looking forward to it. There are games that I've read about and I've even played bits and pieces at various events. There's an Australian-based RPG called Broken Roads, I think it's called. Let me just check my.
Yeah, that one.
Pretty sure it's called Broken Roads, if I recall. Yeah, Broken Roads. That's looking really, really good based on everything I've seen about it. American Arcadia is a game that was sort of goes back to those couple of those streams we've seen before. Terra Nil. Oh, that's actually out. Oh, cool.
Is Terra Nil actually out?
Oh, it's got a release date of March 29th. It must be a pre-order. They've actually got a date.
It will be a pre-order.
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen a date, but you can pre-purchase it for $37 right now. I think I literally announced that date 5 days ago. That's why it's new to me. That's a game I'm really looking forward to, so I'm glad that's now got a date. I'm going to grab that.
I've been seeing Devolver plug that a lot on their socials and things like that, so you being interested in that doesn't surprise me.
Planet of Lana, we talked about that a bit earlier. I Am Future, the game we did a video on about 3 weeks ago. That's really cool. And Steam will build. So yeah, there's games. There was the smaller games at the moment. I think are probably more.
And even the AAA game, like you. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not trying to offend you when I say this. But you tend to like with a lot of the AAA games, your interest level in them doesn't really peak or sort of even come into it until like within a couple of weeks of release for the most part.
For the most part, because I don't trust fucking release dates. Basically, is why.
Well, there's that, and there's also trying to trust qualitatively the games before they come out too.
Which is
becoming more and more of a
for those AAA titles. Yeah, it's the hype cycle around them. I just cannot buy into anymore. I just don't have the energy, inclination. Whereas a game like demos that we've played or that we've mentioned over the last couple of episodes, and we put videos up. You've now got a known quantity. You pretty much know what they're going to be within some margin. So once they come out even if they come out in early access, fine, don't care. That's cool. I'm happy to buy them when they come out in early access and not play them or whatever to 1.0, whatever it happens to be. You've got something you can point and go, yeah, I know I'm going to like that because I played a 20-minute demo, and for the most part, it's going to be what it is on the box kind of thing. Whereas most AAA games, yeah.
Atomic Heart is a good example of that.
Yeah, that's a good example. I mean, I haven't bought it. I've downloaded that on Game Pass on Xbox. I plan to play it for a bit just to see what it's really about, because it does visually look freaking impressive.
Visually, it looks great, but then apparently it shut the bed something fierce.
It's apparently everything else about it is not so good. So, so that's stuff like that you just got to sit back. That's see early conversation about.
It's only safe to get excited about known quantities, or like a Diablo 4 or Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, and even
RE4 remake.
And even there's a possibility Diablo 4 they'll put a bunch of fucking microtransactions through it and ruin the fucking thing. That's the thing they could do.
I'm hoping they learn their lesson.
Hopefully they do, and hopefully they'll keep that separate from Immortal, because it's not a mainline game. But you know what I mean? Like even that could shit the bed in some way. Suicide Squad we talked about a little while ago. Same thing.
All these Gotham Knights bed badly.
Yeah, they've got there are some games that are on paper should be really, really good.
Yep.
But until they actually come out, that's when you know what they're like.
Unfortunately, paper's not where games are played. They're played on screens.
Yeah, exactly. So you just got to wait until the game comes out and then go, okay, that's actually now good. I know it is, or you've read a couple of reviews, watch some videos, go, yeah, okay, it is what I thought it was going to be. Oh, that's nothing like I thought it was going to be, and you walk away from it. I just
even reviews I'm finding a little less. Like I said with Pizza Tower, like that got reviewed super, super well, but I played it and I'm kind of like, this is good, but is it as good as what other people are saying? Maybe not. I don't know.
But every review is subjective. The reviews are subjective.
Of course it is.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if other people.
I'm glad I played Pizza Tower. It at least has that going for it.
Mm. But yeah, I mean, there are some games that I'm looking forward to, but for the most part, I'll play them when they come out, obviously. So
pretty much.
Until then, I'm super
psyched about Street Fighter 6 though.
I don't have any energy. I've decided to not spend any energy getting into the pre-release cycle of any game, because most of the time they come out completely absolutely broken, or they're not what they thought they were going to be, sort of thing, and you just end up sort of.
So
you don't get burned by these games, but you just end up getting Jesus. But you obviously don't pre-order. It's the main thing everyone seems to say.
Well, I pre-ordered at least 3 things. RE4, Street Fighter 6, Diablo 4.
I mean, think with
probably the most known quantities of known quantities.
I think those three. I think those three are probably safe.
Yeah. Diablo 4 is getting 2 open beta periods in March.
Oh, okay.
They're running an early access weekend from the 17th to 19th, and then 24th to 26th is the full open beta.
Yeah, I'll wait until it comes out. That's fine. But
so
again,
I'll probably play it just for the sake of playing it.
Those COPS events are good as well, because you start to get hopefully start to get a sense of what those games are going to actually be like in terms of not the game itself, but the other stuff they do around it. Like, for example, if they did one of those for Suicide Squad, you'd know, it is our worst fears. It's got microtransactions up the fucking wazoo. Games, I'm not going to walk away from that game. I'm never going to touch it.
Or the loot's not interesting, or the actual gameplay itself, even though it looks cool, isn't interesting.
They have those sort of things have the potential to basically sink a game because of that reaction to that thing. And they're too late to change. You can't once they come out, you can't go and change mechanics like that. Basically, it's the Anthem. It's the Anthem story. Like what happened to Anthem.
Yeah, man. Anthem's fucking sad.
What Anthem could have been on paper before it came out was awesome. What it came out like,
and then what they were planning on doing for that Anthem next,
long-term stuff. Yeah, but that's obviously an extreme example of that setup. But you know what I mean. That's what it can end up like.
I forgot to mention about Hi-Fi Rush. One thing that's really cool about it is that it spaces out the combat sections really nicely, because the combat goes just long enough for you to get a little bit annoyed at it, maybe.
Yeah.
Then there's a bunch of exploration and running around and doing shit.
Yeah.
Then they throw another. It's not just combat, which you would sort of maybe think to expect from a character action game.
Yeah. Now, when I played the first little couple of hours of that game, the balance was pretty much spot on. So, yeah.
I'm going to be shocked if anything comes out that looks better than that.
Artistically better, yeah, I can see that. Technically, there might be some things come out look a lot better, but
Yeah.
from a
But
purely artistic perspective, it's like the what was that game that I think it was last year before? Oh my god, the guitar game. What was it called?
Artful
See,
Escape.
yes, thank God. Yeah, like that game.
Mm.
Like technically, was good, but artistically it was brilliant. So yeah.
The coolest thing about Hi-Fi Rush's look, though, is that it's Unreal Engine 4, and there's no fucking micro-skipping or stuttering or anything like that on the PC. That's like borderline impossibility these days, apparently.
Yeah.
You and I talked in the couple of weeks leading up to Game of the Year in that first proper episode back as well. A lot of people passed away. We had Ken Block pass away. There are a lot of well-known people passed away. Jay Briscoe died in a car accident. One half of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Former three-time Ring of Honor Heavyweight Champion. There's been a lot of people that have passed away that are well-known. And it's sort of been a somewhat shitty start to the year from that sort of aspect. We were possibly going to lose Jeremy Renner. But he ended up coming out all right. That's only a few names. That's not to undermine the importance of anyone else who passed. But man, what a shitty start to the year on that route.
Yeah, and just in the last couple of days, one of the most famous football commentators in the UK, John Motson.
Yeah, I was trying to remember I can't remember hearing him in a FIFA game. That's the only thing. He might have been in the older ones.
I think he was in some of the older ones. Yeah, pretty sure he was.
Yeah,
but
because he's not the main dude in FIFA now.
No, I think that's Martin Tyler now.
Yes, Martin Tyler.
But yeah, John.
Although he also does commentary on F1, doesn't he?
No.
Oh.
No.
I'm getting my Martins confused then.
Yes.
Very possible.
Yeah, so John Motson was one of the greatest commentators ever in the UK. He's passed away at 77.
People neglect how hard it is to be good at commentary, both in sport and in fake sport.
Oh yeah.
Wrestling commentary is incredibly difficult to do well, but there's some who do it.
Yeah, so Motson covered 10 World Cups, which is 40 years. 40 years essentially to cover 10 World Cups. Go away. Go away, ad for BBC.
I was like, who are you talking about?
Wait. Oh, God. 10 European
They really want you to pay tribute to him.
10 European Championships, 29 FA Cups, and he retired in 2018. So yeah, he's one of the great British commentators on that sport. And he's got some go and dig out a sort of a highlight reel of his commentaries. I think he's
iconic.
Yes, he's great. Yeah, but sort of going along with that same thing. But
just a fucker of a year in some of those respects. To make the impossible pivot, some must listens, and then we'll call it a show, I reckon.
Yep, good.
Anti-Flag Lies They Tell Our Children, just a very good, modern punk rock, just middle finger to the quote establishment. Fuck them all. Anyway, Thrice put out a reimagined version of The Artist in the Ambulance to celebrate that album's 20th anniversary. And To the Grave, an Australian deathcore band, put out director's cuts on Friday just gone. And I listened to that a couple of times before I recorded, and man, that shit bangs. That shit slaps, as the kids might say. So, with that, we got the must listens done. We've talked about our most anticipated. The one thing we haven't done is maybe check the emails, but there's an argument to be made that maybe that's pointless. Although it's going to be funny if there is one sitting there waiting for us.
Yeah, it'll be there next. It'll be there next time here. Won't go.
Sure it will. It won't go off. Man, imagine if emails did go off.
Yeah, that'd be great if they did.
That'd be weird.
They just expire and disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one stinks.
Oh, well, I mean, you can have emails that stink that aren't off. Moving on. Hey, let's call it.
Yep, sounds good.
This has been episode 276 of the Should I Play This Game podcast for the 27th of February, 2023. Graham, my Bankside. No, that doesn't work.
See ya.
Thanks, mate.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. Press the button. There it is.